Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Redskins Talk TV. This is your host, Andre. Just want to talk about the game today, which was a terrible game at that. So, as a Redskins fan, most of you will agree that losing 45 to 10, that kind of an ass whooping, the way that we lost, is just another reason to be frustrated about the direction that this season has gone. So, starting with the offense, unfortunately, really not much going with the offense. RG3, he was a little off target with some of his passes. They really didn't take any shots down the field, but at the same time, the Chiefs didn't give him much to work with. Part of it, I think, is just the way they have it going because they're not looking to pass down the field. They're trying to look for those short intermediate passes. And I think because you have the defenders playing more close to the line of scrimmage to stop that, there really wasn't much going. And I attribute that to play calling because if Kyle Shanahan had played more aggressively, because when you look at someone like the New Orleans Saints, where Drew Brees, he drops back for his pass, he's always got his chin up. He's looking down the field to try to make those long passes. When you look at like the Seattle Seahawks and a lot of other games, you're seeing that the quarterback is trying to look down the field, and that makes defenders want to back off. And that's what can open up the middle of the field. But with Kyle Shanahan, he's trying to fill out those bubble screens, which I've said on several of my videos. They're not working because you have the offensive line who's not athletic enough to get on the outside to set up their blocks so that whoever is going to be carrying the ball can make the play. So that's just another reason why I hate Kyle Shanahan. Well, I can't say hate because it takes a lot to hate someone, but I hate the fact that he's definitely the offensive coordinator. I don't like him because he doesn't have that creativity. He lacks the imagination, and that's one of the reasons why we're not doing that well this season. Also, the fact that he's veered away from the run and allowing Alfred Morris to hammer the ball down the defense's throat. That's another problem because Morris did not get him a lot of touches today, and that really hurt the game because in the first quarter, we were already down by like 17-0. By the end of the second quarter, we were down 30-0. So when you look at how much time was left, a full 30 minutes for the second half, we could have tried to establish something on the ground. It was still a doable game, 4 scores and, or whatever the case is. We still could have made it a more competitive game, but with Kyle Shanahan's play calling and the drop passes, the missed opportunities by Robert Griffin III because he was overthrowing on some plays, throwing short on some plays, getting sacked because the offensive line didn't block. There's just a number of different things that prevented the offense from moving forward, and we stalled on most of our drives with the exception of the one drive where we got the touchdown, and then, of course, where we got the field goal. So it was just frustrating to see the offense not get any production, especially because I'm always crying for us to get something working on the ground, and that just didn't seem to happen. And going over to defense, we got no pressure on Alex Smith. He's a decent quarterback. He does a lot of those quick drops and throws, so you've got to be able to get pressure up the middle to get him out of the pocket or just moving around the pocket slightly so that it makes him uncomfortable, and we couldn't do that. And, of course, I said the keys to the game is stopping them because, Dexter McCluster is dangerous. Jamal Charles is definitely dangerous. He, out of all the running backs in the league, he scares me the most because of his shiftiness, his ability to catch out of the backfield, just everything that he does. And he had a hell of a game today with about 150 yards. There was even one play where they were backed up, 2nd and 20. Alex Smith handed the ball off to him, and he ran for 34 yards. So you had broken tackles, missed tackles, and finally Rockwell brought him down for 34 yards, and they got the first down. So needless to say, I'm cussing at my computer screen because I couldn't watch it on TV. And then, of course, Dexter McCluster, he had a couple of good games. They had their third running back. He had a couple of decent runs, but the defense really let us down. Also, as far as poor tackling, Bakari Rambo, the safety, once again, throwing his shoulder instead of wrapping the tackle, trying to go for that knockout blow. That's one of the things that is unacceptable for me because when you're paid and you're on the field as a first stringer, you need to stand out. And when that opportunity arises, you need to make sure that you're not necessarily making a person see stars, but at least stopping the ball carrier from progressing up the field. So on the second touchdown for the Chiefs, D'Angelo Hall had coverage, pretty decent coverage on Dwayne Bowe. He took an inside slant, caught the ball, D'Angelo Hall tried to grab at the feet, didn't quite get it, and all of a sudden here comes Bakari Rambo with the opportunity to stop the play right there, throws his shoulder, and Dwayne Bowe, not a small receiver. He's about 6'4", about 220 pounds. He basically pinball strikes off of Bowe, and Bowe goes in for the touchdown. So, needless to say, I'm down about him, and I think that Raheem Morris, as the defensive backs coach, needs to sit with him and say, look, if you're not going to wrap the fucking tackle, you're going to ride the fucking bench because you're not getting paid to be a starter and not do your job. Tackle the fucking ball carrier. That is your job. Otherwise, someone is going to take your place. So that's something that needs to be done. And with 3 games left, needless to say, we're looking like shit. But, you know, hopefully we can get something positive going. It's not going to be easy because we got the Falcons, we got the Cowboys, we got the Giants, and not in exactly that order. But those 3 teams, what we got left. The Falcons are having a terrible season, and even going up against us, you can never tell because our defense, you never know when they're going to show up. Hopefully something will happen next week, but also going to special teams. I didn't think that shit was going to turn out as bad as it did, but Dexter McCluster had a career day. He probably broke the record as far as special teams yardage that he gained. The coverage was just terrible. And Keith Burns, he hasn't coached up the players. He still insists on using bigger returners on the kick returns with Josh Morgan and Niles Paul, where instead of using them, using someone smaller, shiftier, that has better quickness with their feet. But that's just a problem from the top down when it comes to coaching, from Mike Shanahan, Jim Haslett, Kyle Shanahan, Keith Burns. You have the offensive lines coach, the strength and conditioning coach. You have the defensive backs coach, the linebacker coach. Really can't say much against them. They're doing an okay job. The defensive line coach. I mean, it's just from the top down, we need to have an overhaul in this organization because shit looks bad. It's not like we were last season where we made that run, made it to the playoffs, got first in the NFC East. And we're the total opposite, where we went from first to worst, and we're just an embarrassment. So now you got people making a comparison. And by the way, because people always call for Kirk Cousins to come in, well, he came in, and he fared no better than Robert Griffin III. So it can easily be said, well, if he had the whole game to start, if he had the whole game to start, the shit would have still looked the same because he still has to play behind a fucked up offensive line that cannot block for him. And because teams are basically not having to worry about the run, they're going to pin their ears back and rush more aggressively on the pass, knowing that they can shut us down, knowing that they're going to jam up our receivers at the line of scrimmage. And, of course, Kirk Cousins, he had a lot of missed passes, especially passes out to the flat to Roy Helu. Had a couple of, 2 or 3 decent passes up the middle, but that's about it. So when it comes to the game overall, we just look bad in all aspects. So we are not a good team for this season. Looking very bad in the NFC East. And there's a lot of expectations for us as fans as well as people and talking heads in the NFL as far as what the Redskins are going to do after being first and making the playoffs in over 11 years. But this is just a breakdown all around for the Washington Redskins. And as a fan, I can only look forward to the next 3 games. Hopefully we can do something. But at the time when the postseason happens, I hope Dan Snyder drops the hammer, starts handing out pink slips, because definitely Kyle Shanahan has to go. There's already some whispers going about that, there might be something happening tonight or tomorrow with the coaching staff. Who the fuck knows? But I just know that there needs to be some changes. Coaching philosophy is definitely what's needed in terms of a change with that, or at least getting rid of some of the people at the top that make things happen as far as when our guys get out on the field. And, of course, with another off-season program coming up where Robert Griffin III is going to be able to practice, there's not going to be any longer an excuse, or at least where people are talking about his knee, because that's already done. He's playing. He just doesn't have the capability and the talent around him to be successful like he did last season. So I'm not going to down number 10 because of the 45 points that were dropped on us today, only 38 of those points only 7 of those points were his fault because he threw that interception. But those other points were from special teams and were from the defense not being able to do their job. So that's just the frustration that I'm feeling. But if you like this video, I hope that you like, subscribe, and share. And to my Redskins family, hail to the Redskins.